guilty on one of those where they threw our people down. But
we'll call to order the town council meeting for the town of Franklin for February the 3rd, 6 p.m. If you would, please join us and stand as Vice Mayor Stacy Guffey will lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Guffey.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
play ball.
I'm sure everyone received a copy of the agenda for tonight's meeting. Are there any adjustments to the agenda for tonight's meeting, or is there a motion that we approve the agenda as presented?
So moved.
As presented?
As presented.
Thank you, Ms. Selene. Is there a second? Thank you. Motion made and seconded to approve the agenda. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. That motion carries. You also have a copy of the consent agenda for tonight. Are there any items on the consent agenda that any board member would like to pull for further information or clarification? Or is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
Move to approve the consent agenda. Thank you, Mr. Lewis. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by raising your hand. Opposed by like sign. Consent agenda for tonight's meeting has been approved. At this time, I'd like to recognize our wastewater treatment plant supervisor, Mr. Jason Hopkins, who will make a presentation tonight.
Well, there's no song and dance, so hate to disappoint you. How y'all doing tonight?
Good.
I just want to recognize Mr. Jake Slagle. He recently got his grade 1 wastewater laboratory analyst. That's one of the harder ones to get. There's no classes really. It's up to you to study and do what you need to do to pass the test. They do it twice a year, and Jake was able to pass it on his first try, so that deserves a round of applause. Jake, come on up. The guys that makes me look real good, and I thank you for that.
I know that. Thank you. Smartest guy in the room. Oh my God, the brain power. Unbelievable. Not all of us going in the right direction.
Congratulations, Jake. That just goes to prove we've got the best employees of any municipality in North Carolina. Passed on his first try. That's great. Got a good environment, do a good job, and we really appreciate our public works, our wastewater treatment plant, and our water treatment plant folks, and all of our public employees. Now, we have a presentation from the Chief Executive Officer, Mary Ann Martinez, is going to give us an update on Vecinos.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me. Can you hear me okay? I wanted to come and share an update about Vecinos. As y'all know, because I've presented here before, and know many of y'all from the Rotary Clubs, that we are establishing a community health hub in the Ultimate Mountain Systems building, right in front of where they built the new Frito-Lay building. And it may not look like much now, but it is really working on the inside. Y'all have handouts, and I have extra here in case anybody would like some about an update about what we're doing. So just a little history to remind y'all, Vecinos is a nonprofit healthcare agency, and we've been around since about 2001. We started out in the health department in Jackson County. In 2004, became a nonprofit, and this past summer became a rural health center, which means that we are working towards accepting Medicaid recipients as well in our services. We provide primary care, behavioral health care services to low-income and uninsured folks in the western counties of our beautiful state. So in 2025, in May, on May 1st, we will open our services at the Community Health Hub. And if you're familiar with this building, it's a pretty big building, about 16,000 square feet, and we will co-locate medical, dental, and behavioral health services, social health services as well in this space. So it'll be Vecinos co-located with a couple of other nonprofits, and all the services are focused on low-income and uninsured adults in the region. So we'll have Vecinos providing primary care and behavioral health care. We'll have, if you look on the back of the handout, you can see our services that we do: primary care, behavioral health, pharmacy, medication assistance, chronic disease management, transportation for our patients, the laboratory, nutrition counseling, health education, vaccines, referrals, and lots more. And so we will we'll keep our services out in Cullowhee in our mobile clinics and move our headquarters out to Franklin here in just a couple months. The site is being constructed right now, or renovated right now, so we gutted it completely. It was all the way down to the bare walls on the inside. And I was just over there today. They're painting today, so it's very exciting. All the drywall's up, lights are going in soon. We are waiting on our custom-built HVAC system, which has been a little bit of a delay. But when we are in the Community Health Hub and in full kind of operations, we'll have the capacity to serve about 5,000 people. That's low-income, uninsured, and Medicaid recipients. The project has been funded by the State Employees Credit Union Foundation. So whenever the signs go up for the building, you'll see Vecinos Community Health Hub, an SECU campus, so that's why the SECU Foundation has funded the project pretty significantly. U.S. Department of Agriculture, Appalachian Regional Commission, so we've got some nice federal funding in there. And then of course our local health trusts and some other private foundations as well. The purpose of the hub is to co-locate agencies that help our patients be healthy and be independent in their health journey. So we're doing a lot of preventative health education, trying to keep people from having to come into our doors in the first place. So real public health kind of focus. The entire renovation complies with the Davis-Bacon Act and the Build America, Buy America Act. So it all very much focused on fair wages, making sure that people are treated appropriately in the work sites, and that all of our materials are procured from within the United States. So you can see on the handout, of course, I included a little bit about our Hurricane Helene response, and then the farms that we serve in the region. You can also see on here that we are leasing space for partner agencies. So if y'all are involved with any other nonprofits, I wanted to put that little plug in. Very affordable office space. We've got clinical space for any specialists, medical specialists, dental, behavioral health. There's a big community room in there for events. Very affordable. The only thing that we ask is that the agency focuses on low-income and uninsured folks. We are also looking for volunteer and bilingual clinical staff positions. So if y'all know anybody like an RN or a medical assistant that's bilingual looking for a job, please, my contact information is at the bottom. Feel free to have them give me a call or go onto our website. And we are also looking for volunteers who don't need to be bilingual, just have a healthy heart. And we have all kinds of positions open for volunteers, from people, you've got a driver's license, we need you as a volunteer. We need people that can transport, that can drive, we need people to interpret. So any level of language abilities, any level of clinical skill set ability as well. So that's, I just want to give you a quick update. Are there any questions? Would you guys like to ask me questions?
Any questions, Mr. Collins?
Where is the building? You told me, I didn't catch it.
It's 19 Smoky. It's right, if you're coming from downtown and you're at Angel Hospital right there, it's just to the left.
Right before
It's
Car
the old
City.
Smoky Mountain Systems building.
Right before Car City.
That Smoky Mountain building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Sure. Dom's place.
Really?
When
It's
you,
Don's place, yeah.
when you say that you're a rural health center, does that mean that you're certified as a rural health clinic?
We are a state-designated rural health center. So,
Okay.
yes.
So you get state funds?
Yes, we do. It's not the federal.
Right.
I know you're familiar with that. It's not the federal, it's the state-designated rural health center. So,
Are you going to apply for the federal or?
right now, we're happy with the the state.
Yeah. Yeah, smart, yeah.
So basically, it's for anybody that's uninsured or low income that needs medical and dental
Yes,
help.
and as a rural health center, we're also working towards accepting people with Medicaid.
Okay.
So once we're in there, we have kind of the space and the capacity to work through all of that, then in the next year, it'll be Medicaid.
Is it free or just low cost to people?
Our services are
Fine.
free. All of our partner services right now are free as well. And I've got a little list of partners at the bottom on the first page as well. But that's not to say that it precludes somebody from charging for services. I know some nonprofits do to offset costs and whatnot. So maybe a partner in the future would need to charge, but we don't.
No questions? Well, thank you so much, Mary Ann. We really appreciate that.
In case anybody else would like them.
Good job, yay.
If anybody wants to make a contribution to your organization, how would they do that?
Oh, you're so good, Mayor. Thank you. Vestinos.org. It is on the back bottom of the handout.
Okay. Just get in touch with you too.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so very much. We appreciate what you do. Our next item, item 7 is public session, but before we start that, would like to turn it over to Vice Mayor Guffey. We had a question that came up recently concerning residency, and I think Mr. Guffey is prepared to address that particular question. So, Mr. Guffey, if you would.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
PowerPoint.
Before I start, normally an anonymous letter, I would let that go. We get plenty of anonymous emails and letters and Facebook comments and such as that. But sometimes you gotta answer these things because I think there are a lot of good people that would probably run for these offices and do a good job, but they don't because of baseless attacks like these. Thank you for giving me time on the agenda tonight. I live across the street at 88 East Main Street, Apartment B, in a building that I own. Some people used to know it as the Callahan Building. Now it's mostly known because it houses the Scottish Tartan Museum. The museum rents from me the main floor and half of the basement. There are a couple of offices in the other half of the basement that front Stewart Street. And upstairs, I've renovated 4 apartments, 2 of which are currently rented, 1 of which is vacant. And if anyone's interested in the vacant apartment, let me know. And then the one that I live in, Apartment B. So I was curious this morning, and I borrowed the town's measuring wheel and measured the distance and found that it's exactly 219 feet, or approximately 249 steps from my bed to the council chambers where we are tonight. You can see in this picture, a picture of Town Hall from my bedroom window. The convenience is normally a good thing, except for when the town manager or some of the other staff can see that I'm at home and they need something. Living that close, 219 feet away from this spot, you can imagine how surprised I was when I was made aware of a letter dated January the 18th that stated that I no longer met the residency requirement to serve in the position of town council member. Now, I've redacted some parts of this letter because they deal with another elected official whose residency was questioned by the anonymous author. But what I'd like to do is break down a couple of the sections of the letter, and in a spirit of transparency that is highly unusual for an elected official, I'll answer some of the points. This part reads, I was told he uses a business address, which is a top part of a 2-story business building in town, for address for compliance of the requirement. That is not the truth. That's a hell of a sentence. But I'm not sure, but I do think I may agree with it in that it is not the truth that I use it as a business address for compliance for the residency requirement, because I do in fact live there.
Now, Mr. Mayor, if you don't mind, I'm going to address Mr. Anonymous, who wrote the letter, directly in some of these comments. This is the door to my apartment. With the before and after pictures, you can see what an undertaking it was to make these units habitable again. This is my kitchen. I'm sorry for the dirty dishes. Mr. Anonymous, if you were to call me up and let me know you're coming, there's a pot of soup on. I'd be happy to share it. I have a pot of coffee going most of the time. Happy to share that too. The coffee is not as good as it is at some other places, but we'll get to that later. This is my living room. And this is my bedroom. Now you'll notice one of those Japanese privacy blinds on the right-hand part of the picture. That's because when I get out of bed, if that blind weren't there, I could look directly into JR's chop house, and they could look directly at me. Some say their lives are an open book. My life is like an open window. So I got to thinking, you know, Mr. Anonymous, if you wanted to verify that I do live and sleep at this residence, if you had a tall enough ladder, you could get up to the second story and peek in. There's also a pretty good vantage point from JR's chop house. Or, if you let me know you're coming, I'll let you in, and although it'd be really weird and creepy for me, you can sit in the little reading chair that I have next to my fake fire there and watch me sleep. This is my toothbrush. If you come over, you're welcome to inspect it and verify that it has recently been used. You see the community toothbrush in the background there. You're welcome to use it in event of an emergency. This is my Ford Ranger. Most of the time it's parked behind my building at the dead end of Stewart Street. From your letter, it seemed like you don't know what I drive, so I'll save you the trouble. You can see in the picture it's parked next to our town manager's car. She lives next door. You can go knock on her door and ask if I live upstairs. She'll tell you that occasionally she sees me coming down the fire escape on the days that I don't feel like going down Main Street and hearing all the complaints about the town of Franklin. In fact, you should ask all those people who complain to me on a daily basis, who wait for me to come down and come out the door if I do in fact live downtown. This is my building with my bedroom windows circled. If you're not into climbing ladders or standing on rooftops, if you don't want to sit in the little chair next to my fake fire, one pretty easy way to determine whether I'm home or not is if the lights are on in my bedroom windows. If they're on, I'm home. If they're off, I'm either not at home or I'm asleep. I hope the tour of my home was helpful. The letter goes on to say, ask him to produce a rental agreement and history of utility bills. The rental agreement presents a problem. The building is owned by Revitalize Franklin, a name that proved to be too ambitious. And I own Revitalize Franklin, so I am the landlord and the tenant. So I'm sorry that at this time, I have not yet figured out how to do that rental agreement. This is my power bill. It's high. It's in my name. If you'd like to visit, Mr. Anonymous, I can show you the other utility bills. They're all online. This is my mailbox. I have a key to that mailbox there, 88B. I'll let you borrow it, and you can rifle through my mail. This is my mail. Maybe this will save you the trouble of getting my mailbox key. This part of the letter says, I was told that Stacy Guffey resides in a dwelling off Riverbend Road, out of town of Franklin limits. I do occasionally spend the night with my fiance who lives off of Riverbend Road, but she'd be shocked to find out that I reside there. She recently pointed out that I don't even have a toothbrush there. This is my truck again. It's parked in her driveway. I've circled a little area where there's a pull-off of the public road. You could park there and observe how much time I spend at this house. It's a pretty good vantage point. I also occasionally go over in the morning for coffee because she makes espresso, and that's much better than the coffee I make at 88 East Main Street. I occasionally help out with some yard and garden work, and I do some limited plumbing, leaky faucets and stuff like that. Also, there's a picture of the back of her car. It's endearing that, as far as I know, she is the last person to have a Guffey for Town Council sticker still on their car. She is an enduring fan, bless her heart. This is a GIS map of other properties I own. I mentioned transparency. Mr. Anonymous, if you had taken the time to type my name into the GIS database for Macon County, you would have found that I do indeed have other properties in Macon County. These properties are pieces of the family farm that I've been able to put back together. I've been working on it since 2010. So for the last 15 years, I've been trying to put the farm back together. It's been in my family for over 130 years. I do stay out there sometimes. I like to go spend warm weekends out there, run the chainsaw, work on the garden, and piddle around, as my papa used to say. This is a picture of my truck again. If I'm at the farm at Rentaltown, it will be parked in the driveway. Sometimes it's full of youngins. They like to ride down to the creek and play. On the right is my other truck. I'm too big for it, so my grandson uses it. This is my laundry from across the street. Once a week, I take it to the farm at Rentaltown to wash it. This is my granddaughter planning her Christmas gift. She asked for an apple tree to plant at the farm. Because of her and my other youngins, this farm is very important to me. I'm deep in debt trying to put it back together, but it's well worth it because it's a debt I'm paying for my grandkids and great-grandkids. Someday I'll have an easement on it so it can't be developed, and this young lady will pass it along to her kids, and their grandkids. I had to point this out. This letter says, please investigate these two issues. As many years ago, a complaint was filed against former County Commissioner Jim Davis as he moved out of his district and was required to resign from office. That did not happen. Yes, there's a group of people who raised some concerns about Mr. Davis' residency, but he did not resign from office. He left the county commission when he was elected as our state senator. But poor Jim, that's not the only false story that's been going around about him. In 2014, Wikipedia reported that he had died. Ronnie Bill called to let him know that he had died. Jim told Ronnie he was not dead. Here's some unsolicited advice for you, Mr. Anonymous. When you write letters, if you want them to have credibility, put your name on them. Own your accusations. These fine folks that I work with and everything we do, every decision we make, our names are all over it and we own them. That's what grown-ups do. Work on your investigative prowess. A simple Google search and a simple GIS search would have told you a lot. Talk to people who actually know me. You can do better. And with that, you could have gotten your facts straight before writing a letter. It's frankly embarrassing. I recommend that you read and study North Carolina General Statute 163-57. It will tell you everything you need to know about the residency requirement in North Carolina. If, after reading and studying this statute, you're not satisfied, contact the Board of Elections. I invite you to request a public investigation to determine whether I meet the residency requirements. I welcome it. But Mr. Anonymous, the best thing you could do is reach out to me. Call me on my cell phone or email me. The folks here at the town of Franklin warned me not to put my personal cell phone on the website, but I did it anyway. It's all over the internet. You can Google it. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, all that mess. Catch me on the sidewalk. See me at the grocery store, the coffee shop. Join me at beer church. Or just hang out under my window and wave at me from the street. I'll invite you up. Come spend some time with me and learn about where I live. Learn about what I do and who I am. I just got to warn you, I'm usually wide open 7 days a week, so you better eat your Wheaties. This is my mamaw. This is her trying to prove that no matter how old you get, you can still sit in your mamaw's lap. Mamaw said a lot of wise things, and one thing she said, you know you're doing something good when they start coming after you. With that in mind, I want to thank you, Mr. Anonymous, because you have doubled my resolve to do everything I can in the service of the people of the town of Franklin for as long as they'll have me. I was unsure about what I was going to do this year, but you have convinced me that I should run again. So with that, I will see you on the ballot in November. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Guffey, and the only advice I would give you is you put a lot of information out there. I just want to make sure that your identity theft policy is fully paid up. Okay, now we'll go on to public comment session, and the first person we have signed up to speak tonight, Steve Grissom.
I didn't really sign up for public comment a couple of months ago, but one thing I would say to anybody here, realize you're being recorded. And I wasn't thinking about so much what I was saying at the time. Nothing was written that was not true. And but I'm here, I'm the one that's starting the Riverview development at Riverview and Iowa Street. And I've talked with Stacy on a number of occasions. I just want to recommend that Franklin, since we've had this housing study, I don't think we learned anything that we didn't already know, but now it's factual. And I just want to recommend that we look at incentives to help, because this town is growing. I know a lot of people here probably don't want it to grow, but it's growing. And it's going to grow whether we want to or not. So I say let's make it grow the way we want it to grow and not just hope it grows how we need it to be. And so I'm just asking that whether it's developers, whether it's businesses looking here, we really evaluate our incentives that we offer these people, because they are taking a risk. I've never been a developer. I own my own company in Nashville, Tennessee for a little over 20 years. I never really have worked for anybody else, but when I came here and read an article in the Franklin paper about Duotech and them bringing 95 good paying jobs to this town, and then going and meeting with Brett Rogers and understanding that he has some mechanical engineers that he really needs to hire, but he can't hire them because there's nowhere for them to live. And I've talked, his wife is down at Raven Gap, same problem there. Talked to Clint at the hospital, same problem there. We have a housing problem. And we, as I said before, we also have an income problem. And so those two don't really, sometimes it's hard to make affordable housing when things cost so much today. So those incentives can really help. And I don't say that it's just on my account that I'm developing, that I'm looking for a handout. I'm just saying we need to look at that for the town of Franklin and Macon County. I came here from Nashville because this is one of the prettiest places I've ever seen. But we need we do need some changes to make it even prettier. But we've got a great opportunity here with the hospital being torn down. It can change our whole downtown. And I'd love to be a part of that. I'd love to be on the thought process of that. And I'm just offering encouragement to every one of you. men and women to look at incentives, to make it easier for people to do work here, to do good things for the people. And that's really all I have to say.
Thank you, Steve. Appreciate it. Steve is the only person we had signed up on the sheet to speak at public comment session. Is there anyone here who didn't get a chance to sign up who would like to speak at this time? If not, we'll close the public session and move on to the next item on our agenda, which will be to approve a contract with Duke Energy for replacement of globes on Main Street, Phillip Street, and Aldous Street. And we'll ask our town manager, Ms. Owens, to present that for us.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. As you know, this has been something that has been discussed for multiple years, even before I got here into this position. Unfortunately, there was a period of time where Duke Energy didn't have the stock of the matching lights, and now that has since remedied itself. We are looking at purchasing, as part of, not purchasing, but leasing as our agreement for over the next 10 years, 51 new globe sets for those areas. We did have to pay a $2,523.76 early retirement for these globes, which we have done. The total cost for the globes over the 10-year period is $152,816.40. That's billed monthly. So that will increase the town's Duke Energy bill by approximately $1,273 a month. If it was just the $1,273 per month, I could take care of that. However, because it is a multi-year contract, I need to bring that back to you all for approval.
Well, there's no doubt about it, the globes need replacement and have for quite a while. And that seems to be the best and only way to get those things replaced on a logical and reasonable manner. You've heard the request from the town manager concerning replacement of the globes. Do you have any questions, or is there a motion to consider approving? Mr. Culpepper.
It specifically says LED warm light. I'm assuming that's more yellowy than white?
Yes, sir.
Because that's what we want. We don't want a bunch of white or purple lights.
Right, you don't want that bright purple or the blue halos. It is a warm white LED.
And the LED should help out offset the cost increase per month.
Yeah, it should. Any other questions?
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. We have a motion to approve the recommendation from the town manager. There's a second.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Selene. We have a motion and a second to approve the request with contracting with Duke Energy for the replacement of our globes. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by raising your hand. Any opposed by like sign? That motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Owens, for following up on that. We really appreciate your efforts. Next, we have an interesting request for approval. It's something that I can remember years and years ago when my kids were small, and I'm old now. When my kids were small, I used to look forward to this event every year. But we have a request for approval of the Western North Carolina Wagon Train Parade on Sunday, June the 29th, 2025. Ms. Owens.
Yes, sir. Thank you. This would be an opportunity for the public to actually interact with the Wagoneers and the horses and get to see about our history and how this wagon train goes from place to place throughout the region. There is a book that you will see that's up here at the dais that they produced last year for their ride in Silva. They sell ads in that booklet to help pay for the advertising and things like that. But there are 3 individuals here from the wagon train. If you guys want to come, somebody talk a little bit about some of the activities that you've done and some of the history.
The history of it, this will be about the 68th year of the Western North Carolina Wagon Train. We're trying to get to where we're moving town to town again. We're gonna want to ride Macon County this year, needing a place to live over here. We'll ride about a week. One day we'll come toward town. That's all right. Gotta have permission, gotta make everybody happy. We'll try to come toward town, do a little parade if that's all right, then the rest of the time we'll be out kinda in the country riding around, make a loop and come back in, all that.
They met with the police chief and myself to find an appropriate route that wouldn't be as obtrusive to regular busy traffic. And also, again, on Sunday afternoon, it'd be something neat to come out with your families after church and just see the wagon train go through town. They do have individuals who pick up after the horses, so you don't have to worry about that.
That's good.
If you've got any questions, I can answer them, but I don't know what else to tell you, so I'm
Anyone have a question?
About how many wagons?
It's hard to say. We gathered up, have a big time. Last year, I think we brought right at 30 through Silva. Pretty big deal. Silva enjoyed it. This year, don't know. It's hard to say how many you'll have for sure because we just show up and have a big time for the week. I mean, that's vacation for us. I would imagine around 30, maybe 40, maybe 20, but I'm gonna guess 30.
Thank you.
And this is the Sunday before the week of the 4th of July, so that would be another kickoff to the week, another activity that we could advertise and help bring people to Franklin over that holiday week.
I like Sunday events. This is good. It's on a Sunday.
Make that a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion to approve the request and a second. Any more discussion?
Glad to see you return.
Yeah. I remember it as a kid.
Yeah, we do, don't we, Rita?
I do.
Yep.
Oh, man.
Hearing no other discussion, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by raising your hand. Any opposed by like sign, that motion carries unanimously. Good luck. Thank you for doing this here. And I thank the folks here, not just in Franklin and Macon County, but we'll have people come from miles around just to witness this as you come through Franklin.
Well, that'll work. We do appreciate it. We need to talk to you if we've got any other questions.
Yes, sir.
That's, thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have a request for approval of the Macon County Farmers Market to use the Town Hall parking lot from May through October. Ms. Owens.
Yes, sir. If you'll recall, at the last meeting, we had two different individuals who came to speak about the farmer's market being on Iola Street, and then the farmer's market itself came and gave its statistics for the year. We were given the direction to try to find a compromise to make as many people happy as we could. We feel like we've done so with Macon County Farmers Market agreeing to use the town hall parking lot, and they may have some tents up on the lawn in the front area to help advertise and bring people down, but they have agreed to utilize the town hall parking lot if it is agreeable with you as the town council for the season, May through October.
I happened to be in the town manager's office the other day, and I asked her where she gave that magic wand that she uses to solve all these problems, and she wouldn't tell me where it was, but she worked with those folks and worked out, I think, a reasonable compromise so that everybody will be able to maximize their visibility and hopefully their sales and not create a problem for anyone else. The motion is on the floor to, there's a motion, or is there a motion that the board approve the May through October use of the town parking lot for the Macon County Farmers Market?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Ms. Selene. Is there a second? Thank you, Mr. Guffey. Any more discussion?
I would just like to add, Mr. Mayor, it was not just it was a group effort. Everybody made some compromises and discussed it and weighed it out and measured out parking lots, and it was well thought out.
Well, I appreciate that, and I may have overemphasized the work of our town manager, but in order for things to work out, you've got to be able to get people together to work with each other and find a suitable compromise to the issue at hand. And we have a lot of folks at the last meeting who had this discussion at length, and so I'm glad to see that this is a reasonable and workable solution to that. And I thank you, and I thank the others who worked with you on that. We had a motion, or no, we had a question.
I imagine from time to time it would conflict with other town activities is the same day, or?
At this point, Pumpkin Fest is the only day that they would not need to be there for that particular.
And they would understand that have to.
They are in total agreement that it's a town-sponsored event, that they would not.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I also wanted to thank Stacy for his work and volunteering on that group. I know I talked with people on Main Street a couple of different times. This was something that I am very glad that we've got compromise on, because I'd hate for the vendors or the merchants to really have a bad feeling. And I think of this sort of as a opportunity to see how this goes, and then we'll evaluate it at the end of this season. So,
Anyone else?
what was that, John?
Already didn't even live.
Oh, he don't, but he does drop in for occasions.
Okay. Did we get a motion on that?
Yes, and a
We have a
second.
motion and we had a second to approve the request for the farmer's market using town hall. Since there's no other further discussion, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by raising your hand. Any opposed by like sign? That motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Amy, and thank you for those who participated in this. Thank you, Mr. Guffey, for your help on this as well. Next, we have item D is approval for only the left lane closure of Main Street from Patton Avenue to Mid-Block Cross on Saturday, April the 5th, beginning at 10:30 and ending at 2:30 for National Tartan Day. Ms. Owens.
Yes, sir. This is an event that occurred last year, and we did this same similar closure. It worked very well because people could still travel Patton to turn onto Main Street. It was condensed down into one lane, but just for a very short period, and then it comes back into the two lanes. This just protects those that are participating in that event. The shortbread cookie judging contest, the food that's there, and then, of course, the activities that's going to be sponsored by the Tartan Museum.
And this has been done in the past. This is not a brand new.
No, sir, this was done last year.
This was done last year as well.
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Mr. Culpepper. Is there a second? Thank you, Mr. Tomple. We have a motion and a second to approve the request. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by raising your hand. Any opposed by like sign? Motion carries as well. We have a request for approval for Main Street, Phillips Street, Stewart Street closure for June 14th from 7:30 until 10 a.m. for the annual Brave Heart 5K and the Rob Roy Fun Run. I'm sure all the board members will be showing up for that run. Ms. Owens.
At 7:30.
At 7:30, right.
That's right. This is an event that has been going on for multiple years. The only change to this is instead of having the finish line in Town Hall parking lot, because there will be a farmer's market there, the finish line will be on Stewart Street in front of the Rathskeller.
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Mr. Culpepper. Motion made to approve. Second, Mr. Collins. Any discussion?
I have some serious concerns about this event. I heard Dave Lynn was involved.
Well, the only thing I heard was when you come by the Tartan Museum, if you hadn't been by there, give a shout out to the guy who lives on the second floor.
How do you put fun and run in the same sentence? I can't do that no more.
All you gotta do is throw a rock through that window and see if the rock gets thrown back.
There you go. There you go. We do have a motion and a second on the floor. Without further discussion, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by raising your hand. Any opposed with a like sign? That motion carries as well. Artisan Alley would like to use the town hall parking lot on the first and third Saturdays between March and April. Ms. Owens.
Thank you, sir. This is another compromise, of course, not to close the street downtown. The representatives from Artisan Alley have been fantastic to be compromising with us to try to work out things moving forward. This is just for March and April. They do wish to find another location for May through November. We're trying to figure out what to do with that. And so, of course, you're aware that the tailgate market is in the other parking area that we have off of Palmer. So we're doing some research to see if maybe we can find a way to bring either the two groups together or to find a way to make things work. So that's our job and that's what we're trying to do. But for this request, it is for March and April out here, which would be before the farmer's market begins in May.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Culpepper makes a motion to approve the request. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Lane seconds. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, please signify.
That's fine, that's fine.
I'm sorry, did you have something?
No.
All those in favor of the motion, please signify by raising your hand. Any opposed, by like sign. Motion carries. The next one is a request for a contract with Carolina Parks and Play for the Whitmire Inclusive Playground Project that we've talked about for the last couple of years, perhaps. So, Ms. Owens and Mr. Henning, if you would, bring us up to date on what we need to do in order for that project to move forward.
Mr. Mayor, for my part, I'll say what I need you to do tonight is approve the contract documents that we have presented to you with. Somebody broke into my office and put typos in them, and Ms. Lane was kind enough to point them out to me, and I'm all fixed here. I think the only other change from what you've all seen, and apparently some of you have very thoroughly read, is that I think we're going to move to a model of a third of the amount of the contract at a time to be paid out, a good chunk of which is grant funded anyway. So we feel good about where we've gotten to with contracting. We're very easy to work with. I'm happy to answer any questions you've got about it, but I think we just need your approval of the expenditure with Carolina Parks and Play in the amount shown.
We will have a capital project ordinance for this project so that it does allow you to cross budget years should the construction not be completed by June 30th. We are going to have a 240-day contract on this. They were a little surprised by that when we discussed it today, strictly because they feel like they can do it much sooner. However, we didn't want to rush it and have it not done the correct way, or, suddenly have 5 extra screws that we don't know where it goes. So we want to give them enough time to get this done, to get it done right, to make sure that we have our restrooms in that are going to be accompanying it, as well as the connecting sidewalks and the parking areas.
There is a possibility we may have some partners who want to cost share in this project. If they do that, even if we approve this tonight, they can still make those contributions to go toward the total project cost.
We won't turn our money down.
Okay.
Yes, and we were awarded the $500,000 Cardiff grant. That is a reimbursement grant, so we have to pay that up front anyway.
Motion to approve the contract with Carolina Parks and Play LLC for Whitmire Inclusive Playground Project on $1,159,232.05 and subsequent budget amendment.
Because you will have to pull the funds for this project from the general fund balance. But we do have money there.
Which is in pretty good shape.
Yes,
I won't give you the numbers, but it's good shape. And is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion. Questions?
One question. When will the construction start?
Well, we have to wait until the equipment is ordered and is received. So we're hoping that it'll be early summer, but again, depending on what's happening with materials, where they're coming from.
Any other questions, concerns, or comments? Hearing none, is there a motion? So we had a motion and a second. Hearing no other comments, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by raising your hand. Any opposed, by like sign. Motion carries. Now comes item 9 on our agenda is departmental reports, and we're pleased to have with us tonight our Public Works Director, Mr. Bill Deal.
You're on.
You're on.
Jack. I'm out of here, I gotta go.
You need a, we're gonna take about a 2-3.
No, I'm gonna slip on out.
Okay, well,
feeling good.
for those who don't know, our distinguished colleague has had some surgery and he's still not 100%, so we're gonna allow him to be excused for the balance of this meeting and wish him well on his recovery. Thank you, Mr. Collins. Okay, Mr. Deal, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor, Town Council. Once again, it's time for our quarterly update, and As you can see through our reports for the last couple of months, we have been very busy within Public Works, and would like to state that the Lucas Street sewer line is complete except for the overlay of the road. It's up past all inspections, and we're waiting until springtime to put the asphalt back over the road, but everybody that I've talked to up there seems real appreciative of that job being done well. So, also, tonight we're going to be talking about, you saw in our report that we had, in '24, we had 1,919 service ticket orders that we completed within Public Works. And also, within 2024, we had 1,330 locate tickets that we had to complete for various businesses in town doing work around town. So we've been very busy just with those. So what you don't see in that report is taps and other work that is completed, but we've been really busy and getting stuff done. And as you know, in January, we had inclement weather, so we had to work some different times and getting roads clear, salt down, trying to help out where we could. And we assisted the police department in a couple of areas on Friday of that snowstorm with Maple Street and Town Mountain. So our guys really did a great job with that, and let Chris talk a little bit about it too. But Main Street, we came up here and helped get Main Street cleaned off and the sidewalks done up there. So we did had quite a bit going on just with that. Hopefully that's the last one. I don't particularly like snow that well anymore, so it did come and we were ready for it. So we've had, in doing that, we started in November getting our equipment ready for the snowstorms, and they stay there until probably 1st of March. So our trucks are still ready to go. If we do need another one, we're ready to go. And it says here that we completed 10 after-hours calls just in January, and most of those were due to the cold weather, mostly with busted water lines, but no big ones, thank goodness. And most of them were residential service lines where we had to go out and assist to cut the water off so they could make repairs. So, and on the sewer side of things, we stay on top of our maintenance schedules out there, getting stuff done, keeping things flowing and going. And I will also be doing the report for Mr. Kyle Coquette tonight. He has been under the weather for the last couple of days. So he also wanted to include in this report tonight that most of the backflows that he had an issue with were 6, and they were due to the frozen water. Backflows, people would leave on Friday and didn't expect snow and cold weather, and Martin Luther King Day at the same time. We had several days there where the temperatures did not get above 32 degrees. So we were really fortunate and lucky that things were where they were this time around. If you remember a couple of years ago, it was worse. And also, they have done a lot of upgrading to certain things out there at the water plant maintenance-wise. Also, they had an inspection of the lagoon where the water from the water plant goes to the lagoons before it gets back into the creek. They had a state inspection on that and passed it with flying colors. So really happy and proud about that. They passed all their sampling requirements. And also, Kyle wanted me to mention, we get there, 15 tested compliant on cross connections. So there's a lot of things going on, even on the water side, that a lot of people don't know about. We're getting ready to have some pre-bid meetings this week for a new clear well that you all are aware of. So Kyle and his crew is doing a great job out there. They're getting ready to send another guy for testing. I've got a guy on my side that's testing for distribution to help him out a little bit, because Kyle's taking on several responsibilities out there. So if that's all I have for updates, if you guys have any questions or concerns, I'm here to answer.
The only thing I'd say, Bill, is we really appreciate, I've had a lot of good positive comments concerning the Public Works Department and your preparedness and how quickly you responded during that storm. And that speaks volumes for the fine work that you folks do.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate that. Any other questions?
I'd just say spring's here now. It won't get cold again this year.
I'll take your word for that. Can I find you across the street?
Yeah.
Bear in mind, the two biggest snows in Macon County were in March and April. 93.
So that's all I have.
Okay.
Anybody have any questions? Thank you, Bill. If not, we'll ask Jason. Yes.
While Jason's coming up, I'll just say, on the 6th, when we have that pre-construction bid, that is for the clear well and
Okay.
the high service pump station, so it is ready to bid. So this is one that we've been waiting on for several years. So fingers crossed that we get good bids and people are qualified to take care of the job.
Were we waiting on confirmation from any federal funds for that?
We're still, any funds anybody wants to give us, we'll be more than happy.
I spoke to one of the congressman's representatives at a meeting just last week, and he's well aware of that project, so hopefully something will come through.
We have asked our federal and state representatives for any assistance that they can provide towards this project, being as though it takes our current storage capacity from 56,000 gallons to 250,000, which is 1/4 of our total capacity.
Yeah.
So that in the event that there is any kind of issues, we can shut part of the plant down and still have water without having to request people to conserve.
Thank you. We can't wait until the people are here before we start working on this project, so hopefully it'll be in place when all the housing units are built and all of our folks are here and our population continues to steadily grow, and they'll have the infrastructure they need in order to sustain
Like I
what we
said,
have.
with the assistance of our town manager and finance officer, public works and water and sewer stay very busy. So we get a lot of things done, get a lot of things working, so thank you.
Thank you.
Bill. Let your folks know we really appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, we'll ask Jason to come back up.
Oh, back again. This will be my sewer plant ORC hat that I'll be wearing first. January 13th, we had a state plant inspection. Had 0 findings, so everything was as expected with state. Got my PAR data turned in. It's a pre-treatment annual report. It's a yearly report that I have to do for mainly the leachate we treat for the county. So that should be done in plenty of time for the March 1st deadline. Xylem came and cut some danger trees around the plant, so we might not have a fire again like we did a few years ago when the tree decided to take out the power line. Now on my pre-treatment coordinator hat, it seems like about 2 or 3 times a week I get a phone call for a new restaurant or a new food truck. So Franklin is booming, like the gentleman said. It's growing fast, which I like to see it going in that direction and not the other one. And we love our food trucks. And employee evaluations went well. I couldn't be more thankful for the team I got around me, and I do appreciate the opportunity to serve the town and appreciate the support y'all give us. So if there's any comments or
Thank you,
questions.
Jason. Anybody have any questions? Mike?
Yes, sir.
What's Raleigh doing with this PFAS money, this federal PFAS money? Have they figured out what they're gonna do with it yet?
PFAS is the boogeyman. Nobody really knows.
Supposed to be a lot of federal money coming.
There's a lot of federal money and nobody really knows how to treat it. Nobody knows whether they want to cut it off at 3M and Lilly that creates it. They don't want to know if they want to go after the drinking water side, the sewer plant side. We don't create it, but they're looking for us to
Get
stop
rid of it, yeah.
So we're the scapegoats right now, and they're saying we need to keep it from going to the environment. So it's up to us to figure out how to do that. There have been plants in Chicago that spent $10 million and couldn't come up to the numbers they're wanting, which is 4 parts per quadrillion of PFAS going into
$50
them.
billion of federal money out there. So
Yes,
we
that
need to
won't
make
even
sure
touch the plants in America. That won't touch all the plants that we
we
need.
try to get our piece of it if there's.
We need to. I still haven't heard anything. I know Kyle got some preliminary stuff. It is on our permit this time, but right now it's not a federal mandate, so we're not having to, but when it does happen, it'll be test only, which is just kind of finding out where we stand.
I keep hearing Raleigh doesn't even know what they're gonna do.
Nobody knows. They jumped on it real fast, and I think they figured out they really didn't know what they had, so they're kind of backtracking a little bit, and that's where we're at right now.
So is the money going for treatment at the source or treatment on?
Oh, they're not too worried about the source right now.
So ultimately, the taxpayers on that.
They'll be the one that ended up footing that bill.
We
Yes,
don't
sir.
create it, but if we put it into we treat it and don't fully treat it, we're gonna get fined.
They've already called it hazardous, which automatically makes the public as soon as they say a water plant or a wastewater plant has released hazardous waste into the river, there's your public health concern, and that's where the fire gets ignited.
And nobody knows how to keep it out of the effluent.
And right now, the treatment is very preliminary, and there's 4 or 5 different things in review, but they're all very expensive and have their own issues, so.
Get rid of your Teflon.
Your clothes, your Teflon, your garbage bags, your, everything. It's in everything. So. It'll be
Any
a
other questions?
major happening to get it all going.
Any other questions?
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you for the final work you do. And last but certainly not least, Mr. Chris Waldrop, our street supervisor.
Mayor, council, thank y'all for having us this evening. What I'll do is I'll start with some updates of what we've been doing, and then we'll hit the direction that we're trying to go. So since we met last time, all the Christmas decorations have been put up securely and safely, so they'll be ready for the next go around. Which, blink of an eye, won't be too long, unfortunately. Next couple of weeks, we're looking at snowflakes and winter banners coming down. All those will be put away, so then that can officially be the end of winter. We can keep this weather moving into springtime. I want to thank, I was actually out of town when the snow event came, so I really want to thank a big thank you to Bill and the rest of the streets crew for stepping up. We had a plan in place. We knew what we were going to do. They executed it perfectly. And then, you know, it's not just that snow event. You have those freeze and thaw cycles, so we were chasing slick spots for days and days after that. So, and the tricky part now is we've got all new people down there that didn't know the routing, they knew what to do, just kind of how to work their way through that. So they did an excellent job with that. I've got some feedback from them on some things we can kind of tweak to make it better. So it's really good teamwork for everybody to make sure they can get where they need to get to and it be safe. Next couple of weeks, I should be reaching out for maybe in March, but the alleyway project is going to take a lead. I think that's one we can jump on and get that taken care of relatively quickly, and then that'll be off the table. And then we've got some other things for sidewalks and paving that we're just now starting to get geared back up for. Looking forward to the Whitmire project, being involved with that and how that whole property is going to develop. I was looking at the plans today, getting some ideas for parking lots and just the ebb and flow of how we're going to make it work. So street crew is doing really well. You know, we hope we take a breath after the first of the year, kind of do some maintenance and tidy up things. And like I said, if this weather continues, we'll blink and we'll be more and weeding again, which will be just fine with us. So that's all we've got. I know we've got, we're just in maintenance mode right now, just kind of getting things ready to go.
Good job.
Any questions?
No.
Anyone?
We're meeting with, since we're talking about banners, we're looking at meeting with Jay Malice from Mosca Design, who's done several recent banners around town, did our winter banners, and really figuring out where banner placement, what are other people doing to really, they're one of the simpler things that makes such an impact when you pull into a town or a community that, are they welcoming, are they up, you have empty poles, are they in the right position? So we're trying to get a good plan together for when we can spend, that banner, that money that we've got from the other entities of how to best use it. So we're trying to go meet with him, get a plan together, and hopefully put some really nice things up for not only the local residents, but visitors alike.
Is he local?
No, he's a representative from the company we use.
Oh, okay.
Where we get our banners.
And then I've read that you're thinking about different hardware. You'd have to get new hardware too, right?
Depending on where it's at, because there's some hardware you'll see that's sort of sagging, and so that makes the banners sag, or of course some of the banners you can't even tell what's on them. So we wanted to look at holistically and have somebody here who does this for a living as far as the banners go to say, where is the most impactful places to put these? Because if you'll notice at the bottom of Town Hill, there's two that are covered by big trees, and you don't even know that they're there.
Yeah.
So
and we've got, and just the material that they're on, we've got We've got new poles, we got old telephone poles, we got metal poles, we've got our ones on, our decorative poles have the ridges around them. So just try to get with him and say, look, this is what we have, other than me and Ms. Owen trying to look through the website, go, oh, that kind of works, that'll work. Let's get somebody that knows what the deal is and say, this is what we have, help us figure out what we need. So we're not buying 3 of this and 2 of this. We can get what we need and it goes up.
Good.
This has not really got all that much to do with streets, but I failed to ask the question that just occurred to me. When we replaced all the globes downtown for our street lights and so forth, what happens to the old globes? Will they be retained by Duke, or will they be?
Duke takes those back.
They take them back?
Along with our money.
Along with our
money for their
retirement.
They can reuse them. For example, I know a lot of places after the hurricane are going to need, they don't care whether the lights match, they just need lights. So that's what they'll do. They'll recycle those into
Quick refurbishment, and they'll move on.
They'll sell them to somebody else. Yeah, that's right.
Thank you so much, Chris. You did a great job. Appreciate that very much. Okay, do we have any items from the council that you'd like to bring up at this time? I don't want to know where everybody lives and their telephone number and what they have in the bathroom, but if you got anything else, we'll be glad to discuss that at this time.
What was the redacted part? Are you allowed to tell us there was a second item that was redacted?
There's another elected official whose residency's been called into question.
Okay.
All under the roof.
Gotcha, fair enough.
Ms. Elaine.
I wanted to thank Mia for the great article about housing. I think that was probably eye-opening for a lot of people. It is a conundrum, though, about what to do about it. I mean, even what kinds of incentives, and we'll talk about that at our retreat again. But, trying to get enough incentives that would make a difference to a builder is, something to consider, a biggie to consider. So thank you for the article and for the interview. So
I'm glad you brought that up. I had a chance to talk to Russ Harris from Region A at the Region A meeting the other night, and I told him that if he had anything on housing, and they're getting ready to do some things over there through the region, that you were our primary contact on that.
Well, he knows that.
Okay, so he's got your contact
Oh,
information.
yeah. I've been to many a meeting.
Thank you so much for doing that. The other thing I'd like to say is, I appreciate, and we're talking about the articles and so forth in the press. I'd like to thank Mia for the article we had about looking back and looking forward for 24 and 25. The town manager and I had a chance to sit down with her for some time and talk about things that the board has done over the past year and what we hope to be able to get done hopefully this year. So I think it was very well written, and it was very informative, and I hope that a lot of folks would read that and catch up on what's going on in their town. And I'll say this, and I've been in public service for 40 plus years. If I tell you how long, you'll figure out how old I am. But anyway, I've dealt with a lot of different news and other media outfits over the past 4 decades. And we're very blessed here in Franklin and Macon County to have really good reporters, all of them, not just the Franklin Press, but all the folks who cover our meetings and cover what's happening in our county. So we're very fortunate to have people who report the news and don't make the news. So thank you all for what you do. Anybody else? Robbie.
I'm just excited for the near future of just thinking about the town and county. We have some open communication happening. We have acknowledgement of each other. And I just think it's a positive for our town and county as a whole. And I'm excited for our near future and what that holds. And thank you, Steve, for coming out and speaking about some of these topics. It is a good thing whenever we have just even normal people come here and just talk about things going on in the community instead of just reading about it in an article or on Facebook and things like that. So thank you for coming out, and I just encourage others to do the same. Just come out and speak, voice your opinion.
Thank you, Ron. Anyone else have anything to share? We do have a couple of announcements we'd like to make. Our next regular council meeting is going to be Monday, March the 3rd here at this location. We're going to have a joint meeting with the town of Highlands and Macon County coming up Thursday, the 13th, and it'll be in Highlands at the old Edwards Inn. Hope everybody has that on their schedule to attend. I think it's a chance for us to get back into the process of having a county meeting with the municipalities in the county at least 3 times a year. You know, we've sponsored one last year from the town of Franklin. Mayor Pat is sponsoring this one from Highlands, and hopefully our folks on the county level will be responsible for the next one. But I think that's a good way to get together to compare notes and see what we can do cooperatively and jointly to serve the people in our county. Our retreat has been scheduled, and we appreciate town manager's work on putting all that together. It's going to be Friday evening at 6 o'clock, starting at 6 o'clock, and also continuing on Saturday at 8:30, and it's going to be at Cope Hall, which is a nice facility, at Andy's Trout Farm, which is south of here. If you haven't been there, I'm sure we can get you some directions, but it's not very congested down there, but they do have good trout. But anyway, I have taken my grandkids fishing down there a time or two, so I know where it's at. So we're looking forward to that retreat and coming up with our goals and priorities for this year and the years to come, so everybody hopefully will be there. One other thing I'll mention, and we talked about this, is annually the League of Municipalities has an annual meeting called City Vision. This year it's going to be held on April the 29th through May the 1st in Greenville, North Carolina. That's a pretty good ways from here. But registration for that meeting is now open. We had several members, the manager, myself, and several of our council members attended last year. I think it was worthwhile. This year, I talked to our executive director at the league, and Franklin will be recognized as one of the counties who adopted the commit to civility. And so I'm not sure if they'll give us a certificate or just mention our name, but we will be recognized as one of the counties, one of the towns. As a matter of fact, we were the second one in the state to go ahead and.
First with 100% participation.
The first with 100% participation, and the second one, and we would have been first in everything except the other municipality had their meeting scheduled before we did. So otherwise, but all of our board members and the manager, and of course myself, all attended a 2-hour workshop on civility, and I think it speaks well for this board and for our efforts to make sure that we operate in a way that we can be proud of, and that we're respectful of each other and respectful of our community and those who come up here before us. We thank you for being here tonight. We thank you for supporting your town, and if there are no other announcements, I will ask if there's a motion that we adjourn. Do you have a motion and a second?
Second.
Motion made and second to adjourn. No discussion. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Motion carries unanimously. We stand adjourned.